Get this game underway, let's get this series underway and find out if we're going to have another upset here in Arlington, because that's kind of been the theme of what we've seen so far here on Saturday. When you look at one side of the stage, you look at SSG. Coming into this event, kind of talked down a little bit. Outside of the top two was the general conversation, the general consensus from people, but they might be one of the teams who comes out of pools with a 3-0 record.
Right, and also, once again, as we said, a lot to prove for them, because you talk about the veteran talent on the squad. You just heard the desk talk all about it. Really, 4 players, and of course Coach Elamite, who need no introduction. But specifically, I got a chance to talk to Lucid before the event and spend some time with him. And it was fantastic to hear just exactly what they're working on as we take a look at Arlington's stats so far amongst the new duo here in Lucid and SnakeBite, leading SSG in the kills category as well as KD. Impressive numbers from both Lucid and SnakeBite. But interesting talking to Lucid, and you know, it's a follow-up to the conversation that we had with him live on broadcast at the Kason Showdown, and you summed it up really well, Mark. You said, watch this space, was kind of what summed up what Lucid was saying. In speaking with him, I think he's pretty excited because they've identified these little things, right? When you have a brand new team of veterans come together, there are assumptions that are made at the gameplay level as you go through the pieces, and he was telling me we're starting to find all these little things, right? Was there an assumption that someone was going to be watching this area during that spawn? And they've picked those apart over the last few weeks, and they're coming into this event ready to play.
Yeah, and they're going up on the other side of the stage, of course, against ETHR, who've come through the open bracket, have made this crazy run, one of the 3 non-North American teams to come out and fill in those pool play places, which is showing once again the strength of international Halo, not just here in North America. And this is another test for them, right? SSG coming into this event, we mentioned, maybe talk down a little bit of one of the teams who maybe a little bit more vulnerable than the top 2, but we've seen Optic look vulnerable, and I'm sure ETHR are going to take some inspiration from what we saw from Nemesis a bit earlier and say, hey, we're going to take some fights, we're going to force them to take these ones, we're going to force them to win their ones, and if they don't, then maybe we can get rolling here.
Yeah, absolutely. On the other side of the stage, I think SSG is going to think, you know what, this is probably a perfect way to round out pool play for them. Of course, if we just look at the statistical odds, they should take the series very comfortably. And I think that SSG is going to welcome this as a way to, okay, we need to be firing on all cylinders. We need to have our I's dotted, our T's crossed. But it's a good kind of momentum builder as you get into the bracket.
And I think the big target for them as well is looking at what happened elsewhere, looking at, like you say, how the bracket is starting to look and stack up with potential matchups. Going 3-0 becomes a, you cannot do it. Like, you cannot not do it.
Right.
You have to go 3-0 here to give yourself a chance in that bracket, knowing some of the big teams that are going to be moving around, maybe falling down to the elimination bracket a little bit earlier than a lot of people would have expected. So for SSG, it's a real chance to feel good going into the winner's side of the bracket by closing out here, but it's a real test for them, and I think they're going to be testing this series.
It is, and let's take a look at these game types you have on your screen right here, specifically Stronghold's live fire. We saw SSG lose that to Shopify 250 to 111. So yes, it was against Shopify. However, that is a deficit that you're definitely going to have an eye on. Let's also talk about Slayer Aquarius. It was also a loss on LAN against Shopify 50 to 40. And as we look at their last time they played, Oddball Recharge coming into this event as well, also a loss there against Shopify 2-0. So in terms of what, as we said, against strong opponents on LAN play, their first 3 game types here are not strong. And it's going to be a great test to see, okay, what have they worked on over the past 2 weeks of play? How are they going to come in here? And I'm not just looking at score lines, because as we said, given the seeds, this should be an SSG comfortable win. However, I'm specifically looking at how is this played, how are setups broken, how are things held, how are the rotations done on ball, how are they making sure that they're hitting everything they need to in the pacing of Strongholds. There's going to be a lot to look at here. It's going to be exciting to get an extra bonus series for the day.
I agree with you, and I think ETHR are going to be looking at this series layout and thinking, hey, if we can send this maybe tied up towards game 3, knowing that SSG haven't looked great in the oddballs of either on LAN or in those scrims in the build-up to this event, then you take the first round of oddball, the pressure all of a sudden completely flips onto SSG. And we know Slayer Aquarius has been a game type historically where one team can run away with it, even if they are the so-called underdogs coming into that game. So SSG also have a few demons to deal with as well on Aquarius Slayer, even with this lineup where they've blown some huge leads online. And it can be one of those game types where if you go behind a little bit, all of those demons start to kind of reappear and you start to get a little bit,
Yeah, that's why a series like this should be really an opportunity for SSG, especially on the comms department as well. We're going to try to get into listening certainly throughout the series as often as we can, because it is, once again, they're not just working on kind of figuring out new game types and the new roster. It is all the way down. I asked Tommy when he was telling me about you know, we're finding the gaps, we're finding the assumptions. When we were about to set up, say, C-Plat, we thought, of course, this player would be watching dummies, and it just turns out that's not how that player thought about it. But specifically, I was like, how much of that is comms? And he was like, a lot of it's comms. And I was like, it sounds like you need to have your small talk at, say, 110% of what you would normally do. You need to just over-communicate what you're doing to make sure that at this level, when you're just exiting pool play, and maybe exiting pool play with a perfect record, making sure that everything feels good. Let's over-communicate, right? At this level, the comms are such that there is room to say a little bit extra, right? All it needs to be is something, I spawn dummies, right? Just simply saying maybe where you spawned or where you're heading can change everything about how your team sees it off the rip. And then all they have to worry about, as Clutch said yesterday, was focusing on their screen.
I love how you've broken that down, because all we've heard from various members of SSG is get on the same page. And that's what they're talking about, right? It's making sure there are no assumptions, making sure that everybody is aware of how each other are thinking about certain situations. And you can imagine with not only the amount of game types, the amount of maps, the new modes that have come in, there is a lot of assumed knowledge that has to be communicated. There's a lot of things that have to be learned about the assumptions of your teammates and how they see situations. And I think you've broken it down beautifully there to kind of get that quote that we keep hearing explained to the viewers and everybody who sat here watching this series and has been watching the journey of SSG to this first major about what they have been trying to work on. Because, you know, get on the same page, you hear it and you're like, yeah, we know. Like, and then you start to understand how much actually goes into what is such a simple phrase.
Yeah, and exactly. And then that's exactly where it comes into the execution. And I have to say, for the SSG side and for SSG fans, one of the best parts of that is that you have Lucid and SnakeBite on the same team, right? Put those two guys in a hotel room with a VOD review, and my God, will you get unbelievable big brain Halo analysis of exactly what is going on those screens and what they need to change. I would say amongst SnakeBite and Lucid, I'd be hard-pressed to think of any other player who would have just kind of a cold, straightforward breakdown of what needed to be different in-game, in comms, and everything like that. So that is a huge superpower of this team. Let's not just forget, at this event, what happens all season long, these two together, assuming we don't see any team changes, these two and the rest of the squad will be looking at how do we adjust this, how do we break that down, and guess what? They've got World Championships under their belt for a reason. They know how to adjust, they know how to adapt and evolve their gameplay. That's what we're going to be looking for them, not just this weekend, but all season long. I
think they're excited to play as well with the way that they've started. You know, it was a tough first series that we saw them in on the main stage, but they came through it in those big moments, and big moments are what decide big games. Big moments are what decide big series, and this is a big series for SSG to make sure that they finish in Pool D here 3-0 and go into that winner side feeling extremely confident in everything that they've worked on. But in front of them, it's ETHR. Through that open bracket, they have 4. They have scraped. And the LATAM team want to take one big scalp here to see if they can progress in this tournament in the way that they would want. We're into game number 1 here. We're starting off with a POV of StelluR.
See what this man can do. I would say largely yesterday we saw StelluR oftentimes get stifled, shut down a bit, uncharacteristically. But you know the man is going to be ready to play, and he plays 3 days of Halo for a reason. Strong opening here. It's already 3 dead. SSG with an early lead.
Yeah, getting B as well, and having the unfavorable spawns on this game type, not being able to access B almost immediately means that converting B into your command is a great start for you. It shows you've overcome, you've picked up kills, and speaking of which, ETHR haven't picked one up yet. The opening break has completely been won here as the first kill does go down to tapping buttons, and the attention turns from scoring, which is continuing, towards that camo that's coming up as well.
Nicely done. Still 3 dead. They are the only player alive for just a moment. Looks like trapped all the way in rat jail, but not anymore. Lucid gets away with everything, by the way. Hits the snipe on Lure and Rat. Steals the camo, also lives to tell the tale, 36-0 off of the rip.
And no one near a stronghold to contest at the moment for ETHR as well. Oh, Lucid, he's lining them up. And when you've got camo and you've got sniper rifle in your hands, it's an easy job for a player with this much talent. He is looking very comfortable, and a 5-0 kind of backs that up.
How about this? Even though we see a few kills on the board coming in for the side of ETHR, it doesn't matter. It's about to be a trip cap at the 60-point mark. It's still 3 dead. The entire time I've watched the scoreboard, it's been 3 dead. And what a start here from Spacestation Gaming.
Still 2 bullets to work with here for Lucid as well. And we will have to be very, very careful here. We've seen some no-scopes hit in those positions before for the dummy spawners, but you know it's good when you've got spawners coming in below Lucid with that sniper rifle on the tower. That means that SSG have complete and utter map control.
Killing spree for him as well, still yet to be taken down. Finally, of course, as soon as I mentioned it, he does find a death screen, but what an opening it is here. 91-3 before ETHR gets any points on the board.
Now, what can ETHR do from this situation? Had to fight against the sniper rifle and the camo at the start of this game. But now that they've managed to take down 3 members of Spacestation, with Lucid being first spawner and last alive, they're looking to put the pressure on themselves. They're going to clean him up, and all of a sudden it's a triple cap flipping the other way. Spawns are coming in on A, and you can see Luar's already flying into A to try and contest.
See if they can pick up off of any of this damage. Would be big if they do, and they can maybe continue the rotations because 3 are dead yet again. So just as you say, ETHR proving that as soon as they got out of that vicious cycle and that gauntlet, they're able to fight right back in. There will be a swap here of A and C. However, it will still be in a moment. Points on the board for ETHR. They're back in this game.
A really big double kill from Lucid, actually, as last player alive there, and that's allowed the rest of SSG to get back on the map. That's why you're seeing Eco now in position to contest and pick up this camo. And as last alive, we always talk about if you are last alive for your team and you can get a trade, you've done an amazing job. But to come out of a situation where you get 2 and stay alive, that play from Lucid cannot be underestimated. That's why you're seeing now access towards A for SSG. They should be able to convert this, and Eco playing his life so brilliantly with this camo to stay alive and still be an influence on the map.
As you say, a big play from Lucid there that led to everything kind of swapping over for a moment. He's now 9-3 in this game, and of course, if you've been following the preseason commentary, lots of questions around Lucid, no doubt around his skill level, but the question really is, right, what is his legacy from this year? Does he go back to being a Halo World Champion? So much on the line for him and this entire SSG side.
Eco on the hunt at the moment. It's going to be 2 dead for ETHR, and now it's going to be Eco's turn to pick up the sniper rifle. Got the repulse to play with as well if he does get pressured by any grenades.
Enemy team.
A bit of info coming in, can't quite connect on tapping buttons, but there's the help from StelluR, but there's the flank coming in from Luar. And look at the flood now coming in. Lucid gets 1, but it's 3 dead again for SSG.
SnakeBite last player alive. Let's see how he plays this one. Gonna make sure he tries to get this kill in jail, and of course he does. Leave it to him. I'll pick him for a 1v1 any day of the week. And that's big. That'll let the team reset just a bit here. However, take a look at the scoreboard throughout all of this. SSG did get momentary control once again. However, this game is not only is ETHR right back in it, we are essentially nearly tied here, and this perfect timing as StelluR has this sniper. Let's get to a listen here with SSG.
He went jail.
Hey, big door now with QT. Big door with QT.
Coming back.
I spawn here, Kevin.
One more. 2 shot. One shot, jail, quantum out. Quantum back B. 1 shot, and his quantum's
Big
down.
door as well. 2 here. 2
Quantum down, rat top.
Cement, guys. Cement was weak.
One shot cement.
Go cement.
Back green, one shot tapping.
Yep. Quantum back to jail. Quantum back to jail.
He's dead.
I'm leaving in. Going to see
Ammo in 30.
Yeah, I will.
I'm on cut.
Rat on Kevin.
Probably your game already.
2 and 8.
Tapping's really.
One shot, rat.
2 shots.
I'm hitting it.
Ammo in 10.
Watching rat. Watching bottom.
Tapping was weak.
2 here. I know beat down. They're both weak down.
Ammo 5. Ammo 5.
Where they going?
Big door.
Top
Big door.
A and big. Going A to key door. Screen.
There's gonna be 2 screens. 2 screens and 1 big.
Come on. Careful behind us.
Yeah, I heard that.
One guy B.
Yeah, bottom tower weak.
See that?
Capping in.
It's really bottom tower. Some more guys.
Cuts.
There's one it. The guys see the one it. Nice. And there's still somewhere C.
Tower.
Tires weak.
One shot, tires.
Tires.
One shot pillars. Go big door to A. One was pillars. To mud. He's still pillars. Close right, Kevin. Close right.
I'm hitting C. You guys hitting C.
Pillars, one shot. Pillars,
One shot pillars.
Yeah, they're gonna hit big door. Gonna hit my big door.
Right in 30.
A dom.
Two, Tommy. Both one shot. Yeah, both. 3 dead.
One shot small me.
All dead.
Let's
Bottom somewhere.
I have tower.
Yo, let's one.
Dummy's weak. Lear.
Keep living. Everyone live.
There's somewhere mud probably.
Watching, yeah, mud spawn. Have shields. I got a shot.
Still blocked. Big drop. Still
Probably
blocked.
splits up
Guys,
there.
camo spawn. One shot cuts. Absolute cuts.
I'm going to
Still tower.
Yo, mud also.
Crazy.
One more elbow. Tapping.
Bottom tower.
Go in A, guys. In A, one guy.
This guy.
Light percent.
Nice, bro.
4 dead.
I have tower. Might spawn close to me, mud or...
No, elbow maybe, I think. Elbow.
Dummy's again. One shot.
Fuck, yeah. One more
Danger
top tower.
tower.
One shot.
Desperate lane. Desperate.
We're gonna keep spawning dummies, I think, guys.
One shot, nice. Nice. 3 dead. Drift.
Nice.
2 alive.
One shot in A. One shot jail. 2 on me A. Almost one shot.
Need 30 seconds.
You're ready. Keep living.
Need 30 seconds. Wait for spawners. Yeah, I spawned here.
One big door.
One shot. I killed one, Bridge.
Well, it was a perfect time to jump into the SSG listening, because ever since then it has been all SSG. 231 on the board. SnakeBite with the sniper rifle in his hands, and Acid just learned that firsthand as he takes a bullet straight to the face.
Man, the amount of damage coming out of this guy. Beautifully done here, just holding tower, being an absolute pain. They still continue to hold BC, and as you said, what a time as 3 fall. to be into that listen. And SSG was getting pushed up against the wall. The game came within about 20 points here as we now hit the final points of the game.
Yeah, this is going to be SSG holding this. Nobody is close enough to a stronghold for Ether to even contest. And SSG, from the moment we went into that listening, completely took control. And they'll be one to the good in this series.
How about Lucid? We talked about the original poster boy of Halo Infinite. The question is he back in full form, Lucid? How about going triple positive, 21-7 in game number 1 of the series to kick things off? And we got to see a lot of that from his POV. It was dominant. He would fly into A, get 2 players perfectly, 1 shot, fly back out big door, finish the kill pillar, stay alive at B, just putting on an absolute clinic.
And he does that kind of magic thing sometimes as well. When that little run you were talking about, throws a spike grenade, just a kill pops up in the feed. It's like a strong side moment. It's like only players like Lucid, something will pop up in a kill feed where they get the extra kill, where a lot of players would not. So very good signs in game number 1 for sure. 250 to 115. That run was really, really impressive from them.
Down as well, but 250 to 115 is your final score in that game number 1. And I gotta say, that first listen-in, despite what was largely a blowout game in terms of the final scoreboard, loved what I heard, because when we were on Lucid's POV with the camo, he was the only player alive for a moment. He had to make some key plays. The team was also split. You heard a lot of comms about dummies, tower, and C, while they were also fighting A battles. And for a moment, it felt like they were maybe going to lose control of the game. Instead, they regained everything, right? They stayed calm. They stayed collected, which you expect from these 4 players, especially with Elamite as well. And in the end, they closed it out very comfortably.
Yeah, really good start from SSG in this win in the opening battle, and that put about 90 points on the board. But there was a triple cap just after the opening break for Ether, which put a little bit of pressure on SSG, and I think gave us the opportunity to see, okay, how do you break out of this? Are they going to be able to find a way to stop this bleeding quicker than they have done previously? Because, again, go back to that Lucid interview for the Kaysan event that we had in the build-up, and it was like, when it's bad, it goes real bad for us at the moment. You can see 60-point runs going into 120-point runs, and they look a little bit discombobulated, a little bit all over the place, but they were able to steady themselves very, very comfortably. And even though there were some good points on the board here from Ether, it was about an 80-point run or so, then SSG got control and managed to completely turn the game around and
here's the play.
Closed it out.
Here's the play. Look at this. 2 players, gets 2 shots into him, flies out, gets the pillars call out, finishes that one. And then later, this spike up big, pops in the feed as well. And this was SnakeBite to close it out with a really nice tower hold. That brainer against Acid, you may not pass. And no one came to the top of tower at the end. In the end, it's 250 to 115. SSG takes that game number 1 with a convincing win on the board. We will now move to StelluR Aquarius, game number 2.
Well, the good news here for Ether is they don't have to worry about any power weapons on this map. They don't have to worry about the sniper rifle. It's all about just controlling 1 power-up, and apart from that, it's all about the bandit. It's all about those 1v1s and staying out of the range of that plasma pistol as well on the car side, which has become a real nuisance. Players have become extremely proficient with that in and around those gens on the car side. But as I say, no sniper rifle to worry about. Just play in your pairs, play grouped up if you can. And if you get the opportunity to split spawn SSG and keep them on a run, you got to take it. You got to be aggressive. You got to put them on the back foot.
And also, let's not forget, in that game, we did see Ether bring the game within about 10 points, and they were down 91-0. So that's quite a statement to be able to bring a game back like that against SSG. That is not an easy task, showing that they can go toe-to-toe for moments in the gameplay. The question is, can they do it here in the StelluR? Their big focus as we get into game number 2 will be keeping this game within reason on the scoreboard.
This could be very interesting. Like we mentioned, game number 3 is oddball. SSG have looked weak in oddball in the game type suite that we have in Halo Infinite. So if Ether can take this one and send it towards the oddball, they will be able to test SSG in this series a little bit more than what we saw in that game number 1. But of course, SSG will be looking to go 2-up. They want to win this pool 3, finish this pool 3-0, I should say. And the first step to doing that, of course, is taking this game as well.
Interestingly, late camo grab. Finally, StelluR does grab it, but it takes quite a while, 35 seconds. It's late grab to come on an Aqua camo grab. He will get it in the end. It's traded out, and we're tied 4-4. Really nice counter here on the opening from Ether.
Oh, nice double kill though from Lucid. There's another player in front of him too. SSG members scarpering away with no shields. And you're about as one shot as you can get now, Lucid. He's going to have to wait a few more seconds for those shields to come back, but they managed to do so. 76 to score, just a 1 kill advantage here for SSG. But you can already see that Lucid is under duress.
Really impressive, first of all, for those 2 SSG players to stay alive on Shroom stairs, and now just debating and switching on Util Bridge. Keeps them with just a small 8-7 lead. I gotta say, Ether with a strong start here, toe-to-toe with SSG.
SnakeBite with a big kill on the player who was just hovering around the courtyard there. So SSG now can move up the map. The angles that they can take superior to those of Ether, and with that beat down and that clean up, it's going to be another kill going to Lucid here, who has had another phenomenal start, by the way. He was 5-0 in the last game off the rim.
Man.
This time he's 6-0.
Incredible. And like we said, you heard him pre-season with a new tone of voice and kind of an element of both determination, maybe even frustration. The teams were not taking them as seriously as they need to. And how about a 6-0 start in this game as well, as you say? This man is showing up in a huge way at the Optic Major.
Lucid does not want to show right now. He wants to stay alive top middle because that camo's coming up in just a few seconds. He's got the green gun as well. A couple of extra shots coming in. Doesn't connect this time around with the green gun, but the top middle control was enough for StelluR to get away with the second power-up in a row now. And speaking of twos, good things come in twos. It's a double kill for him.
Ooh, he tries to drop it a fly table, but regardless, in the end, it is an SSG grab. Really nicely done. SnakeBite's going to come away with this camo, and I love how in both of these grabs, on back-to-back camos, they did not rush them. They're confident in playing their game, playing their team shots. They know that the more time that elapses, the better that their situation will be on the map. Now they're up here 21-13. Really nice patient play in the opening minutes from SSG.
That slide's going to give SnakeBite some information. Damage coming in. I mean, you look at the feed. 2 shots come in from SnakeBite with that camo. Immediately, someone else is in a position to look at the damage from SnakeBite and turn it into a kill. No one from ETHR at the moment is able to get away with no shields. They are immediately being cleaned up, and there's another one for SnakeBite. 5 and 4 for him, but he is leading the lobby with 6 assists.
I mean, beautifully done. It's not easy to fly up an opponent's shroom stairs at this level, hit the 3-shot melee, and get away with it, and then trade again. But that's what you expect out of SnakeBite. Time and time again, he's going to get the extra kill, the extra damage. And how about StelluR? In this game, 12 and 5 already. A huge reason why his team is now leading by 9.
Big swings can happen in this game type, and Ether need to keep that in mind. At 27-16, it might feel like this game is slipping away from them, but you get a 2 dead, you get a 4 dead, and all of a sudden, if you've got 4 players still on the map, you can really cycle those spawns and cause SSG some problems. Speaking of which, 2 players from SSG fall again. Eco just slows things down for a second, enough to get that kill and get his teammates back on the map. 29-19, it's a 10-kill advantage here for SSG.
And you have to wonder for the side of Ether as we watch this push unfold. We'll see how this goes before we get into what's happened so far. A little bit away, switching. Eco tries to stay alive as long as he can. Finally, he's taken down. But you have to wonder, with the amount of kills that we see on the board, you can't let StelluR go 14 and 7 and Lucid 7 and 3 off the rip. 3 fall yet again for Ether. It might be too little too late. I think, Mark, the one thing that we talked about with this team is when they are good, they are scary good. And we're starting to see that right now.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see how good SSG can be. The work has been done. The work has been put in. And even though this is a series we would expect them to win, it's a style in which we were maybe hoping that they would be able to dominate a series like this. Eco with another camo this time for SSG. Ether haven't been nowhere near that power-up.
Man, Eco's doing so well here. Finally gets taken down, but does a whole lot of damage. Doesn't even trade with that first one. And StelluR will clean up the scraps
16 and 8
around Pink 1. This is, like we said, it feels like we were only on StelluR's point of view for the second half of that opening killing spree, and before you knew it, they were up by 10. And that's what SSG, when they are clicking, when they are on the same page, that's what they are capable of. And this weekend and all season long, they're going to be looking to find that form as consistently as they can.
StelluR's just going to fly, and you can see at the moment that Ethan just look a little bit lost on the map. They don't know what way to look. They've got players from SSG flying at them from all different angles, and with 3 dead once again, you can probably understand how that feels. 41-26 to score. Green gun here for StelluR. He's going to get another beatdown. Somehow gets away with his life once more. And I think StelluR's probably thinking, I want 20.
Man, in the pits, how often are they not trading? They're getting kills where they really, in most situations, players would be trading, but they're getting away with the kill. And of course, as a follow-up, with extra damage as well. Just 6 kills to go for SSG.
2 for StelluR to drop a 20 bomb in a Slayer, which is quite rare. StelluR down on the bottom of the pink tower at the moment, just waiting for damage. There is that damage. Doesn't get the kill this time, but he's going to slide out towards the front of the base here. Try and take on Tappin. Buttons! That's not an easy fight to win against Tappin. But this is StelluR we're talking about.
4 kills to go, and time again, not just winning battles, but ensuring that they don't trade. Another pickup in the kill, and he's 20 and 10 with 3 kills to go. It's a 20 bomb for StelluR.
Absolutely ridiculous performance in this Slayer coming in from the man who was so impressive for Spacestation Gaming last season. Drift will find 1, but it feels like this is just a foregone conclusion at this point. Drift will fall. StelluR, surprise, surprise, gets the final and ends 21 and 10 in game number 2.
How about it? And StelluR has already been writing history books on what is possible within individual games in Halo Infinite, and he continues to write that story yet again. And it feels like every single player on this SSG roster, you can never count them out of a fight, not just in each game, but even in the 1v1s. And I think anyone who's played enough or watched enough Halo Infinite knows what we're talking about in that game. There were so many scenarios where you would expect at this level trades to happen. Instead, SSG was eking out extra kill, extra kill, extra kill, and it led to so many man advantages. And in the end, a 50-36 Game 2 win.
Well, let's see what game number 3 is going to look like. You saw SSG just taking their scheduled break from the series. Take a moment to talk about what has been only positives, I would imagine, from those first 2 games. We'll take a look at the stats as well. I mean, just look at the damage coming out from StelluR and SnakeBite. It's ridiculous numbers in a Slayer. 21 and 10.
Massive
21
numbers.
and 10, just think about that in a 50-kill game.
And
That's
how about,
ridiculous.
and Lucid starts the game 7-1. We should also mention the way that he started that game. When you're able to start a Slayer with a 10-kill lead, even though Aqua can be, you know, a little bit of a dicey game in the mid game, when you're starting a game with a 7-1 run, and you're getting that first camo, and you have the lead, and you can be the one poking and prodding and taking chances, it sets the tone for the whole game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think one positive again for SSG, something that's a basic of Halo Infinite, and this goes back to our conversation about SSG getting on the same page, just controlling things on the map, controlling pickups, controlling power-ups, weapons, whatever it might be. Game number 1, they had the sniper rifle off the rip pretty much every single time that it came up. They won the majority of those camo fights. Think of Aqua. He didn't get a single camo. Every single clip that you're seeing right here from an SSG player who's got camo, no surprise that they come out of that game. They are controlling everything on the map that is turning into easy win conditions for them to look so good.
Yeah, and there's 2 pieces of patience that we saw in that game from SSG, or I should really say 2 aspects that were played patiently. It was not only the camo grab, let's not forget, even though they had a man advantage, the camo was up for 35 seconds before it was scrapped, but you saw on your screen there while StelluR, was on the car jump, he's also taking his time getting the camo. So they're letting camo go by, and all the while, ETHR's panicking, no, we gotta get this camo. And SSG kind of baits it a little bit, waits until they have perfect control to grab, and then you saw time and time again their camo players play it so patiently. And guess what? When you have a 10-kill lead, you can be even more patient. And they kind of just double down, right? And it kind of goes back to the old kind of RTS mantra, when you're ahead, get more ahead. And that's exactly what we saw SSG doing in that game.
We'll have to see if Ethan can challenge them a little bit in this game number 3. We mentioned that Oddball has been a little bit of a sticking point for them when it comes to the game types that we have in Halo Infinite, and it's been one where you can see a couple of games where they really haven't quite had the cohesion in the parts moving in the way they would have wanted to look consistent in it, but we can already see work has been done. We know that SSG, one of the hardest working teams that you could possibly put together with the individuals that are on this team. And I'm kind of excited to see how this Oddball goes. I want to see SSG not make mistakes. I want to see them be showing conviction in their decisions on where they move that Oddball, if they go for play balls, and how they formulate breaks as well, should Ether get a setup on the map.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen so far from SSG is flawless game plan. You can tell by the scoreboard across the first 2 game types. I can't think of a single instance where we saw across those first 2 game types SSG making really a fumble or an error that cost them much in the game or much on the scoreboard. We're going to look for the same in game number 3.
And I mean, one thing that we should focus on as well is that performance in game number 2 from StelluR, because this is a rare performance when you see someone going 21 and 10 in a Slayer. And this man in this series, 1.45 KD, 31 kills already in just 2 games. By the way, I think he is a man to watch this season, because I think last season it felt like StelluR rose to a new level. He became this superstar. He became the guy when he picked up a sniper rifle that everyone was like, I'll pay money to watch this.
Yes.
I want to buy a ticket to watch StelluR play Halo. And I think this season it's about trying to match that level, because it almost feels impossible to go above what he did last season. But finding that consistency and being that player once more for SSG is such a vital part of what could be their success this year.
I agree. I feel like there's a little bit of parallels between Frosty's role currently right now on Shopify and StelluR on SSG. Yes, they're god-tier snipers and we know what they're capable of. I don't mean to compare them playstyle-wise. I mean X-Factor-wise, right? I think you're going to get a guaranteed consistency out of both of them. However, if they are hitting shots and in god-tier mode that we've seen both of them be in throughout their careers, you can almost place your bets on which team will succeed based, right? Just give me a graph of how good each one of those 2 is playing, and I'll tell you exactly who's going to win the series. And it feels like it's the same with StelluR. He set such a high bar for himself over the past few years. Can he do it again this season? Can he hit even a new tier of not just consistency, but hitting shots that honestly are generally, you know, too hot for TV? Like, we can't even believe the stuff we're seeing on screen.
You know what I'd love to see is, like, you know, you have XG in football, where it's like expected goal, you have a chance, it's like, what is the expectation this should be finished?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that with snipe shots. Like, what's the XG of this shot?
Yep. I mean, and even like kill totals, right? And then no one would have StelluR is expected to go 20 and 10 in this Slayer. Yet we might have to start putting those into the stat lines because he just dropped a 20 bomb here, double positive in a Slayer. We'll see what he can do on oddball recharge. These guys are ready to end pool play and get ready for the bracket. We're underway here in game number 3.
Well, here we go then. SSG back on the stage, looking to close this series out, looking to close pool play out with a 3-0 record, like you said, Andy, and we're going to continue with StelluR. It would be rude not to. It would actually be disrespectful not to stay on his POV after what he just did in that last game.
Look at the wait and bait starts. I'm telling you, SSG with untraditional, and non-conventional starts to these. They just waited and baited orange door. Might even pick up almost both of those in the end, though. They do get the camo. I'm pretty impressed with how SSG is playing. We talked a lot about the case on Showdown in the current meta. We see a shot grab coming in for SnakeBite as well. There are times when you need to play this game fast, and there are times where when you can slow down, it will give you a huge advantage. And that's exactly what we see SSG doing yet again.
Well, they've managed to get the oddball in their hands. They also have camo and shock, so the story we were telling about their control of things that are popping up on the map is continuing here in this game number 3. SnakeBite. It wasn't visible, now he's very much visible. That is quite the grenade.
God, is that dirty.
Perfect.
That is dirty. Misses the shock shot as 3 players go down, maybe 4 on half wall in just a second. Players are going to be spawning here, presumably elevator and A. Misses the shock shot, and 9 out of 10 players are backing down off a glass. Instead, he just 2 little shots as the pipe push comes in. See what he can do first. Almost takes them both down. But then just 2 little shots, 4 dead, which will now give me a chance to finally talk about all that he just did. 2 little shots into long hole, and then the cheeky little pre-nade out that just picks him up before StelluR has any idea what even happened on the long haul push, and then he rotates back and does so much damage in red pipes, and off the back of all of that, it's 40-0 off of the opening.
Lucid getting having a little bit of fun with the shock rifle, not going to be able to connect in the way you would have wanted with those shots, and we'll actually give a shout out to Eco at the start of this game, the start of this round. A lot of conversation about Eco's performance online. If you've watched Eco play Halo for long enough, you'll know that that's not the first time that that's been had. He always turns up when it's the big occasion. At the start of this game, 5-2 with almost 30 seconds of objective time as well. It's the perfect start for him.
Speaking of shout-outs, we know, of course, it must have been said many times in the broadcast, but extremely grateful to everyone working overnight to make not just today, but this rest of this weekend possible here, ensuring that everything from last night with some wild scenarios, power to the building was resolved. Many, many parties working all night. And it feels like this event is even more special because we know how many people had to work hard overnight, 2 a.m., to make sure that everything was resolved in the building and we have this venue rolling and we are back into the Halo action. And speaking of rolling, it's SSG now with a 47-point lead.
Yeah, shout out Div as well. Man looked tired today. He'd been up all night making sure that we were here, able to play today, and everybody that was involved. And for Lucid, a little bit of oddball time for him as SSG continue to keep ETHR from scoring a single point so far in this oddball. Eco looking to clean this one up, will do. Grabs a couple of stickies on his way towards another kill as well, who are trying to get away. Not going to be able to. Eco cuts him down as well. 3 dead once again here for ETHR.
Man, finally, Acid comes in as the last player alive with an important kill on back A. That's going to force a rotate of the ball, but SnakeBite says, see ya! He's going to rotate to some friends. He's got a gold.
Always good to have friends in high places, and those are at gold at the moment. SnakeBite's got that green gun, and here come those friends. Here comes the flank from it. Eco as well. You talk about teamwork, things working together. Another trade coming in. This time Eco picks up the kill at a disadvantage, and SSG continue to score here, and SSG continue to control these power weapons. It's another shock rifle here. This time for SnakeBite.
Acid doing his best Owen Wilson impressing behind enemy lines. But as we saw, if you go behind enemy lines and pipes and find yourself in a 1v3, it's not going to go too well. Tapping is knowing that poking here might result in a face removal, so he backs down.
2 players looking at sliding the pipes here by the looks of things for ETHR, but one big shot here, the chain damage, a headshot from SnakeBite, and how things could change. Can't quite connect this time, just get 1 trade, but 3 will fall for SSG in that push, so they've done a pretty good job here, and should should finally be able to get their hands on that oddball.
Man, a little bit of deja vu there, right? The SnakeBite in a 1v2 in pipes and somehow still gets the trade and damage on the other as well. It will be for the first time in the round. Good shots, by the way, from Drift against StelluR. Not easy to do. Maybe a camo grab as well. Tries to shroud it. I think they're going to get away with it. They do. ETHR gets away with the camo somehow. And maybe they can get back into this game now.
Now it gives us a chance to see how SSG are going to break. This is something we were focusing on. We wanted to see if it was going to be extended holds where they looked a little bit ragged. First kill does get picked up here by ETHR. Still going to be challenging. The camo gets taken down. SnakeBite from it at some sort of angle. Commits to that fight as well. Eco trades that situation out. I think he would have much preferred to get out of that one with his life, but at least takes one player down. But 33 seconds on the board now in this round number 1 for ETHR and SSG. Got to get that ball played.
Here comes StelluR, going to fly in. Bonk. Going to throw the ball up as well. Kills will be traded out, but most importantly for the SSG side, they do get the play ball. Lucid also with a little bit of style points to get the last kill. Clears out C. Nice little jump up to C plat, and that will be a rotate. Gonna already see the spawners, of course, pushing across Whirlpool, and he's gonna tell his friends to gold once again.
Whenever anyone has to fight against Lucid and you just see him hit this strafe, it is so difficult to predict what he's gonna do. Just wiggling all over the place, got muscles in his thumbs that not many people do have. There's the attempted grapple, like you say, from SnakeBite. Does get cut down though, and it's going to be ETHR who have the numbers advantage. Lucid is now last alive.
Looks like surrounded by opponents. They time the 1v3 appropriately to make sure Lucid doesn't trade anything out, and based on the spawn timing, the damage shouldn't matter too much. Acid now going to fly up. Now this needs to be perfect hold. It's 94 to 50. ETHR needs to put together something very special if they want to steal this round.
A little bit's kind of bunched up on the long haul at the moment, ETHR. Don't have a lot of map. You can see that SSG have managed to wrap through the tower without taking too much damage, and that's why you can see tapping buttons getting isolated, and Acid all of a sudden is going to have most of SSG just flying at it.
Good trade there. They need to rotate and they need to get out of dodge, and they did, but now a 2v1 in pipes. This is important. Eco's going to try to join, and with the camo at bat ledge, this is a big part of the battle as well. 3 dead. What a break from SSG. It felt like even though the rotate was coming in, they make it so difficult as SSG, and they're going to play this one slow. Still 2 dead.
SnakeBite just wants to grab this ball and get it back to pipes. He knows he's got the support of Eco, but he gets cut down. Eco decides, you know what, even with the camo, I've got the timing on this. I'm going to grab this off ball, and I should be able to get around this corner. He does do that indeed. SSG, first round on the board. They are 1 round away from 3-0 in ETHR in this series.
Really nicely done. It kind of makes you feel like game number 1, doesn't it? It feels like ETHR, they take a minute to wake up. They kind of get the blender in the early game, and then they're able to bring the game back, within reason, but it's too little too late in the end. Really nicely done from SSG. They had a 3-man push at C plat, and in the end, in doing so, they were able to also get their first spawner pipes while Eco's grabbing camo. That made things much more comfortable at the end of the round, and it's once again good late game management. We'll see if they can do it again.
Another camo. If you're looking at simple things to improve on if you're ETHR, is controlling power-ups, because it is very tough to fight against SnakeBite without a camo. When he's got it, it's even more difficult. He's going to add a grapple to the collection as well.
Just look at the info. Just ping, 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 letting the team know exactly where everyone is, and now the grapple's going to keep them alive here.
At the moment, here's the pivot for the team. You can see he's trying to cover as many angles as he can, and now he's going to play up the damage. Noses the one-shot bottom tower. Good call out from his teammate, and Drifter's last one alive. Well, he's nowhere near that oddball as Eco will take him down. So SSG with a fantastic hold on the map, and it's all from just the information and communication, right? Damage coming in, cleanups on kills, and it's looking very, very simple for them right now.
Beautifully done from SnakeBite and the entire squad. He goes just full recon mode. Sits camo Whirlpool, is able to ping 3 players' locations, and then once he gets the call out, he can just whip right in with the grapple. Maybe a little bit of bat ledge craziness here. Traded out 3 dead, Tapping the only player alive, so maybe he might see a grab. Tapping, I think, tried to maybe just play it a little further bottom mid. It was probably his only play there. That was not going to be easy based on his angle and his damage. Lucid will say, actually, we're going to bring that ball right back home.
Yeah, nice easy triple kill there for Lucid, just cleaning up the damage from his teammates at 15 and 8 with most ball time as well. Lucid yet again having another fantastic game here for Spacestation Gaming. 52 points already on the board for them.
Tapping trying to make gold happen once again. Eco in absolute pain, drilling shots there. And Tapping will be cleaned up in the feed. Take a look at that. So very important damage coming in from him, making sure that they maintain control of gold. Finally, though, I think there's going to be a little bit of a battle here where Acid's at gold. Another camo. Camo grab once again. Flawless. Huge shout out to Elamite and the entire SSG squad. It's been flawless power up and power weapon control all series long.
Drift neutralizes the camo. Tapping buttons. Doing the majority of the damage in that, but look at those shots coming in from Eco. Perfect has never been more right.
That was, felt like his gun was shooting a bit different. That was way too clean. Eco very comfortable, not just in glass, but on LAN in general. They will continue scoring yet again.
The rotate going towards his teammate is just holding down the back of blue. That's going to be StelluR. Just be careful on this cross here, as Acid has managed to pick one up. He knows something's wrong and manages to get the trade in the situation as well. 4 dead though for SSG. A good break coming in from ETHR. They pick up the kills, but the ball did get played bottom middle, so they're going to have to fight for this again.
Yeah, SnakeBite's the first one up long haul. Let's see what happens with him in the feed. This will determine if there's a hold or not. They do get the important kill, essentially on the 5th kill, if you will. So SnakeBite will be taken down right away. That might provide them with an opening. They're trying to bait from bottom middle. But ball down C-Stars yet again, and it's 2 dead for ETHR, so Spacestation with a solid break so far.
Yeah, tapping actually the last player alive in this push. The respawners are now coming in to give him some support, but Eco in the meantime has brought that ball back into the hands of SSG. He's brought the ball to the back of blue, and StelluR's got a sniper rifle. I was going to say it's a shock rifle, but in his hands, anything that starts with an SM rifle is pretty damn good.
Oh, almost does it to him at top gold as well. Finally, he's taken down, but most importantly, SSG is still holding the ball. And what felt like it should have been an ETHR advantage. A nice little grenade on the stacks as well from Lucid. Picks up another one. Don't you dare try to push to the sneaky. He's going to grab the ball as well.
There's some pressure coming from somewhere. It's Tapping Buttons who's last alive. I think the SnakeBite's going to try and deal with him, as Lucid will grab that ball and go until 100 points of objective time in this game as well. And that brings SSG now within 10 points of closing this game out and closing out the series as well.
Beautifully done. Might even just hold it to these last points as well. Finally, the pressure does come from the Trippy, and they'll need one more hold here. 3 dead Eco, last player alive, gold.
Again, just good patience from Eco, right? Don't need to rush it, just need to win the game. Tapping takes some damage. Oh my word. Eco with perfect shots once again. A couple more into Drift as well. It's 2 dead on the side of SSG. Acid picks up a big kill in that situation, which now leaves Lucid as the last alive. So very similar to what we saw actually in the first round. Spacestation only need a few points, but ETHR are trying to make this a little bit mixy.
Man, Lucid there coming down with the green gun just absolutely decimates the camo hold. Yes, we see 36 on the board, but it feels like all it will take was not even a break. A half of a break will win the game for SSG.
SnakeBite cleans up the damage. Lucid knows there's someone else to deal with before. SnakeBite's just following him around and going, thank you for the kills.
That is devastating here. Eco will fall on the immediate ball grab. So we'll be 1 dead. Not done just yet. Might be 3 dead in a second, but of course Lucid has something to say about that. Ball's going to be down on batteries, and things getting a little bit dicey here. 99 points. 1 to go for the round and the series.
Yeah, you can see Eco was just trying to grab that ball and think, I can get away with these few points on the batteries. I can survive long enough, but ETHR keep this one going. Only 1 point needed. They have the ball at elevator, but these kills that are starting to stack up in the favor of SSG, and the damage differential that's also stacking up in their favor means that Tapping has to go big inside of the elevator and does exactly that. He finds Super. He's left his teammate here. Drift, he's down. StelluR gets the other one. That'll be the last point on the board here for SSG, and they will close out the series 3-0, and even bigger than that, will finish Pool D 3-0 as well.
And interestingly, in that last round, and even across the entire game of Oddball, they didn't outslay by a huge margin. Instead, it was just perfectly managed Oddball gameplay. The kills were, I think, maybe less than 10 in terms of overall slays. However, SSG looking way too strong in terms of the overall gameplay. Your total score across that game is going to be 200 to 125 in a full game of ball. It's a 2-0 win in the end, and a 3-0 series win.
Just highlighting some statistics as well. We're going to look at that man on the left-hand side of your screen for that last game. 22 and 14 for Lucid, but most importantly, like I was highlighting, a huge amount, triple figures for objective time for him as well. So kills, deaths low, lots of oddball time. It's exactly what you want to see from a player who is so influential to the success of any team that he finds himself on. But I mean, you could take your pick. The one thing that's impressive for me on SSG, we talk about teamwork, getting on the same page. What's a great statistical indication of that? Assists. Yeah. Look how many assists they have in comparison to the other side of the stage. 8, 11, 13, 10. Only one player in single digits, and that was Lucid, who had most kills and most ball time.
This was dirty. I mean, come on. StelluR thinks he's getting, he did everything he needed to right. He gets the shots on SnakeBite, he continues pushing. Not easy to push against any of these players, and you're seeing once again fantastic work from SSG, and it's a similar tale for ETHR, right? It's clear and everyone knows that these are fantastic professional Halo players, and they're able to get significant amount of points on the board. Let's not forget, they just essentially had 50 points almost unanswered to get back into that game. This was lovely from SnakeBite as well. When you're that anchor player like you described, Mark, when you can whip around and clean up kills that would otherwise be quite obnoxious to have to chase down, it can make such a difference on the map. Look at this from Lucid. Pre-nades the stacks, picks up the first kill, does the same on the sneaky, just holding it down. When you can 1v2 like that, God, does that blow the game and the map wide open.
This was such a fun little run to watch at the end as well.
Yeah, this was just...
Lucid's just breaking everyone's shields and going, you kill him, Peach. Peach goes, okay. It's a very nice situation to be in if you're following Lucid around, but he's putting that much damage in. But just a little moment there, just the highlight at the end. Elevator setup gets picked up by ETHR. SSG take their time, get the pick, they break it apart perfectly, make sure that they do not let anything get away from them. Do not give ETHR a chance to get back into that game. They break, they get that extra second. And if you were to ask them how do you want that series to go, I think the SSG would look back on that and go, that's pretty much as good as we could ask for.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. They're going to be very happy with that, and it will give them also great momentum going into bracket play. And we got Blaze on the stage with the man Lucid. Blaze, over to you.